How's it going, everyone? It's Sam, filming in the car because I feel like I need to talk about how scarce Bitcoin is and how just having 0.1 Bitcoin can change your life. There's some shocking numbers that I want to run you through too. I feel like people are starting to understand that Bitcoin is an asset that they might want to hold. At least if you're watching this video, you probably already know that. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is how difficult it has been for Bitcoin to get where it is today. So far, in the last 14 years, 93%, I believe, 94%, something like that, of Bitcoin has already been mined. And that's in 14 years. Now, over the next 120 years, about 117 years, we're going to mine the rest of the Bitcoin. So there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. We've already gone through 19.5 million of it. So we've made it from 0.008 cents, whatever Bitcoin was 14 years ago, all the way up to 69,000. Now we're still at 37,000. We've made it all the way there with most of the supply being thrown on exchanges. What a lot of people don't understand is Bitcoin miners are some of the biggest sellers of Bitcoin because they have to take the Bitcoin and then sell for paying employees, for electricity, for buying more miners. That's going to totally change. It's going to be flipped on its head. So the biggest sellers of Bitcoin over the last 14 years are going to have less and less to sell. What a lot of people don't understand too is there's just so much Bitcoin that's been lost. We have wallets that have 100,000 Bitcoin, 50,000 Bitcoin, 10,000 Bitcoin that haven't moved the cryptocurrency around since 2010. Now, I don't know about you, but if I had $10 million, $50 million, something like that, I would not leave it on a laptop that's 13 years old. I would buy something like a Treasure wallet, which there are links to that underneath the video. You can get 15% off, the best discount you can get out there. I would move it somewhere like that, somewhere safer, or I would have sold some already. We know that there are confirmed wallets that people have lost that have $100 million worth of Bitcoin on them. Satoshi doesn't move his Satoshi Nakamoto hasn't moved his Bitcoin in a very long time. There's many millions of Bitcoin that have already been lost. Now, a lot of people also don't realize that the majority of Bitcoin is held by just a few number of wallets. 92.8% of the overall Bitcoin right now is held by wallets that have 1 Bitcoin or more. So a lot of large wallets just want to keep on accumulating, and it makes sense. If you talk to someone that has bought Bitcoin before, usually they keep on wanting to buy more. It's not like a lot of other assets like a home where you just buy it and then you sit and you just don't buy anymore, right? You continuously buy more and more because you want to stack. And 92.8% is held by wallets with 1 Bitcoin or more. 85% of the whole Bitcoin supply is held by Bitcoin wallets that hold 10 or more. So these whales want to buy a significant amount of Bitcoin. They keep on adding and adding. And those are a lot of the entities that don't really need to sell. They're not looking to get, someone that has, let's say 10 Bitcoin, isn't looking to get $5,000 worth of gains, right? They're not going to sell when it moves up just a little bit. They're looking for the long term. These are people that have disposable income or have held for a very long time. These are people that have hundreds of thousands of dollars to put into Bitcoin. So they're not too worried about the day-to-day. So we have the changing mining structure, right? This changing of the supply. We have a lot of Bitcoin being held. We have a lot that's already lost. And then we also have a lot of companies that are now getting into Bitcoin or interested in Bitcoin with the change in accounting rules. We have a lot of countries that are now looking at making Bitcoin legal tender. We already have one, or we have a couple other ones that are very interested in that, just because of the inflation rate, of the great properties of holding Bitcoin. They're sick of massive inflation in their own countries. And then we have a lot of actual countries that want to back up their reserves. They want to add it as a treasury asset. And then we also have people that aren't wealthy, but would transact with it day to day, just because it's easier or cheaper, or their country makes it legal tender. So a lot of people that don't really care about stacking, but will just take up supply because they're just gonna use it for normal transactions. So we have so many entities trying to get into Bitcoin, and it's the only asset with true scarcity. So if you have 1 Bitcoin, right? you know that you're going to own at least 1/21 millionth of the entire Bitcoin supply. Any other asset can be made more of. We have a hard time understanding what true scarcity is as humans because almost everything is in abundance. If it becomes more valuable, you can create more of it. Bitcoin, you can't do that. Bitcoin is very scarce. So when it becomes more valuable, more people hear about it, more people want it, more people pay for it, and there's nothing to do but have the price go up. So right now, it is very difficult. It's very difficult to get your hands on 1 Bitcoin or 0.1 Bitcoin. And it's something that is also a mental barrier for a lot of newer investors. They want to know, should I buy now? Should I buy later? A lot of them end up FOMOing in. And that's likely to continue to happen because we're already starting to move up. The price is starting to move up now. And this is when there's basically no liquidity. Like the amount of liquidity in the system, in the economy, is actually getting smaller. There are less and less people that want to make risky investments, less and less large institutions, but yet they still want to invest in Bitcoin. This is something that they want to invest in. So when that switch gets flipped, when people want to go risk on, when the Fed starts lowering rates, when they can't get 5% on treasury bonds or in a savings account, some kind of fixed yield investment, what are they going to do? They're going to pile into riskier assets. They're going to pile into Bitcoin. They're going to swallow up even more, take more off of the exchanges, and the price will go up. It's very difficult, like I said, to even buy 0.1 Bitcoin for a lot of people. How many people can even afford a $500 expense? There have been studies, not many people, like 2 in 5 people can actually handle that here in the US. A lot of people in other countries can't either. So as we move along, you have to put away $3,700 to get 0.1 Bitcoin. Now, when Bitcoin inevitably shoots up quickly, when we get to the point where Bitcoin's at $100,000, that's going to be hard. $10,000, that's a car. How many people are going to be able to buy that? And then as we continue to move up, probably exponentially, it's going to be interesting to see how the mechanics of Bitcoin change because there's less and less supply. So recently, we actually had the supply on exchanges go down for the first cycle. The first 4-year cycle, we actually saw the supply go down. So it's becoming harder to buy. Up until that point, price went up and it was still, there's more and more available just because we were mining so much. So we might actually not have diminishing returns. A lot of people are wondering if we're actually going to get bigger returns this cycle than the last cycle, especially with a lot of institutions rolling in. So I'm not trying to induce FOMO. I'm not trying to tell you to go out and buy as much Bitcoin as you can. But I am saying that this is a time where if you haven't already bought some Bitcoin and you've been looking at it, you might want a dollar cost average because I think, a lot of other people think it's going to become extremely scarce. And we don't need everyone in the world to buy Bitcoin. We don't need half of the people. We don't need 1 billion people. Right now, we only have about 40 to 50 million people that hold cryptocurrency or have bought cryptocurrency. If that 10x's, the price of Bitcoin is likely to more than 10x. That means institutions will be buying. That means retirees are going to be buying. This means that the price will probably go up exponentially. So if 10 times more people get in, we're probably going to have a lot more than 10 times X the price or 10x the price. Let me know your thoughts though. It's going to become exponentially harder to get your hands on Bitcoin. So just consider whether you want to buy some now. Thank you so much. Check out the links to Treasure underneath the video. If you want to trade cryptocurrencies on leverage, I'm not saying that's right for everyone, but it is something you can do to try to amplify your returns. There's a link to Margex. There's no KYC. So check that out underneath the video. Thank you. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.